Welcome to UVTV, motherfucker. I'm gonna kick spiritual ass and do this for my people. On God. Yeah, nigga, feather me in. Today I'm gonna be talking about all horoscopes are maps of specific transitions of the sky slash atmosphere during that time, just in general. So when it comes to horoscopes and stuff like that, that's like horror or like Horus and stuff like that. So horoscope. So horror will be like horizontal and stuff like that. So above the horizon and below the horizon. You know what I'm saying? So the same way how you see like the sun transitions during the daytime and the nighttime, and when it comes to dawn and then twilight until dusk and stuff like that, right? It's just based upon different sun pockets and sun transitions and stuff like that. That's why when it comes to the ascendants and the Pacific pockets and signs and stuff like that, that's why Aries will represent to six to eight a.m. and then Taurus would be like 8 to 10 p.m. I mean 10 a.m. And then Gemini would be like 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. And then Cancer would be 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. and stuff like that. And then so forth. So it's talking about different sun pockets and sun transitions and stuff like that. And then all those things are different celestial bodies. So from it being a horoscope and stuff like that, it's talking about the horizon, and it's talking about the space or parameter of the range or the viewpoint of that atmosphere, of that sky, of the celestial bodies during that specific time frame and stuff like that. That's why when it comes to your natal chart and when it comes to learning about like horoscopes and all that type shit, right? You need the birth and you need the time you was born, and then also the location and stuff like that. So it's based upon the internal energies of your internal sky map. And you know what I'm saying? It's showing you the map. It's showing you the geography. It's showing you the blueprint, the manuscript of the energies you have inside yourself when it comes to your universe and your solar system and stuff like that, right? And it's showing it by the hour, just in general, because horoscopes also represents Horus. I'm gonna get into that. I'm gonna get into that. So the same way how you look at horoscopes or like Horus and stuff like that when it comes to the Egyptian god and stuff like that, right? Because Horus is just a Egyptian sky god, and he was the son of Osiris, the son of the son of Osiris, and Osiris is the god of the afterlife and the dead, and then Isis was his mother, and Isis was like the god of the moon or motherhood and stuff like that. And he fought his uncle Set to avenge his father becoming the king of Egypt and stuff like that. And then that's where that whole thing when it comes to the eye of Horus and stuff like that compared to like the eye of Ra and things of that nature. All these things are like allegories. So it's the same way how you read the Bible and stuff like that. It's allegorical to a whole bunch of different symbolism and metaphors to other things, and they just utilizing that language to simplify it based upon the terminology that they're using and stuff like that. So before you get lost into adultery and idol worship and stuff like that, and y'all looking at it like, oh, these was kings and queens and gods and pharaohs and all that type shit, right? And hieroglyphics and shit like that. During that time period, based upon that civilization, they were just using those symbolisms and those hieroglyphics and stuff like that and those pictures and like imagery. It was like them trying to track the sun cycle and the atmosphere that we in just in that geographical location and giving it different names and titles until what we have now when it comes to English, and then England men and Europeans discovering what they was talking about, and they trying to come up with their own interpretations based upon their culture that they done made, and they just gentrified it into the new age and stuff like that and giving the simplified version. So it's not no thing where it's like these things were like gods and goddesses and stuff like that that actually live in existence. It's them trying to point a direction or a viewpoint based upon the allegories they give it so they can have a better understanding of the world we in. You know what I'm saying? So it comes off esoteric. It comes off mystic. It comes off otherworldly because they're trying to understand other worlds beyond just this sky or this heaven or this atmosphere and stuff like that. Because we still in the flesh, but they trying to understand it from a spiritual nature. They're trying to understand above the horizon. They're trying to understand the overall space than us being below the horizon and stuff like that. And they just made up a whole bunch of different symbolisms and occultisms or mysticisms and imagery to like use it as like a reference point to try to understand it. So it's not no deep thing where it's like, oh yeah, the horoscopes got like a language we were trying to understand in the code of language or what the fuck they was talking about. No, they're doing the same thing that all civilizations was doing on Earth and stuff like that. Asians will probably just call it something else and have a different interpretation, but they're doing the same thing. All religions are all trying to point to the same thing. They're just doing it based upon the geographical location and the civilization that they had during those time periods based upon those interpretations and stuff like that. So when they sit there and they start talking about Horus and stuff like that. So Horus also represents like the hours and stuff like that. And it being like, you know what I'm saying? It's starting to go into Horus and Ra. And like Ra was like the god of the sun and stuff like that. And then he'll take like it's like similar like to Helios and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like there's different equivalents of the same thing, but they're all talking about the same thing. There always be like some sky chariot or sky boat or some shit like that, right? They're just talking about the sun transitions. They're just giving it a character. They're just giving it a characteristic, and they're just using that as a way to describe what that is. So it's the same way how y'all look at the goddess Aphrodite, and it represents love and stuff like that. It's not no thing to where it was like, oh, a woman who was actually Aphrodite and stuff like that, who people was adorning after and idol worshiping and stuff like that. They just saw people playing out those different characteristics, and they chose to make a character out of it and stuff like that. So it's the same way how you watch like a cartoon or some shit, and that fictional character isn't actually real, but it's supposed to be representing a certain thing based upon the characteristics, the personality that fictional character has and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? To like represent things in reality. So it's like when motherfuckers sit there and be like art imitates life and things of that nature, it's basically like that. Oh, they're utilizing art, talent, ability to represent things that actually happen in real life, but they're using it for the fantasy realm or the creative realm or the imagination realm and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like they're trying to make fiction out of it, but fiction is only mimicking what's already happening in reality in some way, shape, and form, even if it's not happening in the flesh, and we ain't made no technology in the flesh for that thing that they're trying to turn into some type of character for the most part. So it's the same way how y'all look at a lot of mythical beings like dragons and stuff like that, and oh, we don't see actual dragons in existence and stuff like that, but based upon their imagination, there's something like that in existence. There's an entity like that, and we're just using allegories or symbolism or our imagination based upon the vision of how we would see what that would be like, and then we're just trying to make sense of it the best way we can until eventually we give it enough attention to where that could be something in reality and stuff like that. That's a different video. It's gonna go deep. Motherfuckers gonna start saying that and then start saying motherfuckers pseudo and stuff like that. But we see shit like that in real time. Motherfuckers become celebrities. Motherfuckers have a dream or they have some type of passion, and it's based upon a vision or what they see in their own mind based upon their imagination. So they're trying to make their imagination or that vision that they see and perceive that no one else sees, because no one can read your goddamn mind, or that dream, and they make it reality. So dreams come true, motherfucker. Like, you know what I'm saying? Some dream chasers, Meek Mill shit. We see that happening in reality all the time. It's just, oh, I'm applying it to some mythical being, like some Bigfoot motherfucker, or like dragons and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Or like some Skyrim shit, and then y'all, you know what I'm saying? Like some Elden Ring shit or something like that. And then motherfuckers gonna be like, oh, this is a guy out of his goddamn mind. He sound like a fucking spiritual crackhead. You know what I'm saying? He's saying a whole bunch of fucking spooky, like pseudo shit and stuff like that. But you see in reality that motherfuckers doing the same thing. It's just the example that I'm using because we don't see that in reality, but there is something like that in existence. Not like a thing like, oh, it's in the flesh. No, someone came up with that idea of something like that. So let's say that actually came into reality. The dragon probably ain't gonna look at, you know what I'm saying? Like the dragon probably ain't gonna look how we imagine a dragon would be like, but we mean the characteristics of a dragon. A dragon is just a flying serpent, a flying snake and stuff like that. And the same way how y'all look at the serpent or someone acting snake-like or snakes in your grass and stuff like that, y'all look at it as temptation or like desires and stuff like that. So higher desire. So it's a flying serpent. It's a flying snake. It's a flying desire and stuff like that. It's something in the air, in the atmosphere and stuff like that. So we all trying to ascend to a higher desire instead of getting stuck into low-hanging fruit and depressing desires or demonic desires or things of the flesh and stuff like that. We trying to be all spiritual and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? Like, you see how I just said that and it made more sense? You know what I'm saying? Like, I start intellectualizing the shit and I just start breaking it down and giving it another perception, another way of how you can look at it, and we all just doing the same thing. Just in general, it's just based upon how you looking at it, not what you looking at. So I'm not getting lost into the light or getting lost into the illusion. I'm trying to show y'all how you can make it relative and make it make sense in reality. Like, you know what I'm saying? You can ground that energy to make it make more sense and make it more practical. But that's a whole different thing, right? So like with Horus and stuff like that, right? So Horus would be like the Egyptian sky god and stuff like that. So look at Horus as like the hour and stuff like that. So the same way how you need the hours, so you can put in the time slot, so you can figure out what time you was born based upon your natal chart, aka where you was native to of the location you was at and stuff like that, right? It's just talking about the sun transition and him representing the sky, the heavens, the atmosphere and stuff like that, right? Right? And in the atmosphere is just the world at most. And then he was the son of Osiris. Osiris is the god of the afterlife and the dead and stuff like that. So it's talking about something that's below the horizon. It's talking about something of the flesh. It's talking about something based upon resurrection or rebirthing or things of the dead and stuff like that, or the twilight zone. So it's the accumulation of light, which is just the dark realm, aka the nightshade, right? So if it's talking about the afterlife, it's just the life after this one. But to reach the life after this one, you have to go through the death period. So it's a temporal existence. It has to deteriorate, it has to decay, and it has to die out. That's why he represents the God of the dead. They're just using that as a symbolism or an allegory for things we actually see in reality and stuff like that. Okay, we're born into existence, and then we're sentient, and we're going to give life to things, and then we're going to end up dying one day. Osiris represents the death portion and stuff like that. Or how y'all look at the sun transitioning from evening time or the twilight zone into the dawn until it starts to transition into nighttime, until it being dark outside and all that type shit. You know what I'm saying? So look at that from a grand perspective when it comes to the seasons as fall and winter time. So during fall and winter time, it gets more cold. It gets more into a low temperature, a low temperament and stuff like that. It starts being more cold, dead, distant, frozen, chilly outside and stuff like that. And then motherfuckers gotta wear big ass puffer coats to stay warm and stuff like that, and higher temperament. So it's not as intense. It's just more like, you know what I'm saying? It's more cold outside, but that's just the weather. That's just the climate. That's just the attitude at the time and stuff like that. So it's the same way how a motherfucker can do you cold. A motherfucker can do you like, oh, they don't even give a fuck about you. They're not trying to relate to you. They're not trying to, you know what I'm saying, be passionate. They ain't trying to be relative to you and stuff like that. Like, oh, damn, this motherfucker harsh. This motherfucker cold as hell. And shit like that. Oh, this motherfucker acting like they ain't giving a fuck about me. You're playing out the same energy signature. You know what I'm saying? So, based upon that, that also equates to not Osiris, Isis being the moon or the mother and stuff like that. So the moon just represents, like the same way in astrology, with the emotions and feelings and self-introspection and self-reflection and stuff like that. And he fought his uncle Set to avenge his father. So Set will be like the sunset. So it's just talking about the sun transitions per hour and stuff like that. So like how I was talking about earlier of Aries to Taurus and the different AMs and PMs and stuff like that, nighttime and daytime and all that type shit, right? So when the sun sets, so when the sun starts to set is during the evening time or during twilight and stuff like that. And that's when it starts to turn from dawn till dusk and stuff like that. So it's gonna turn to that nightshade in that dark time. And darkness is just the accumulation of light. When it was light, oh, you can see. And then when it's dark, it's things that are blinded. It's things that are unseen. It's when you can't see, just in general. So it's talking about the different transitions. And, oh, he became the king of Egypt. AKA, he went through the full spectrum. He went through the full 24-hour transition and stuff like that, right? Because Horus just represents every 2 hours and all that type shit. So that's just the allegory of what they're talking about. They just made a whole mythology or made a whole story out of what the sun is doing. They just said it in a way that was real allegorical. So the same way how you look at the Bible and stuff like that, and that being really allegorical, okay, that's what the Egyptians was doing during that time, and what they was basically describing when they was trying to understand the world they was in, based upon the atmosphere and the motherland and the father sky and all that type shit. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm talking about when it comes to your horoscope. A horoscope is just a diagram or a chart or a map, a blueprint, a manuscript showing the positions of the celestial bodies. Celestial bodies will be like the heavenly bodies, right? And the celestial bodies represents the planets and the sun and the moon. And then if it's celestial, it's talking about the heavens. It's talking about the sky. It's talking about the atmosphere. The atmosphere is just the world at most. And then it's something that's otherworldly. So it's something beyond just the world that we in, of the flesh and stuff like that. And then the heavens is just the home of God. And then y'all have to look at God like all possibilities. Stop looking at God like a deity. You know what I'm saying? Because y'all end up making things demonic or making things descendant or making things more grounded to the flesh and stuff like that, right? When God just represents all possibilities of all of creation, all of existence, all at once and stuff like that. So when you look at God more like that, and the heavens supposed to be the home of God, oh, that's how you make that internal heaven. And after you dead and stuff like that, you put your spirit, aka your individual, uh, yeah, you'll put your spirit, which is your soul, which is your individual space, or your individual creations, or you as an individual observing these things just in general and producing these things. You're gonna put your spirit in a space, a parameter, an arena to where it's gonna be more heavenly and stuff like that. So it's gonna be in a more ascended place, just in general. It's gonna be able to transition and move past of being of the flesh, and is able to make new bodies. Your first body is your mind, and then your second body is the physical body, your flesh, your organs, and then it, you know what I'm saying? You start getting reincarnated, and then you can sit there and use the things of earth, aka the external tools technology that get made from the flesh to make our society and the government and everything the way it is right now and stuff like that. So horoscopes are just the astrological forecast. If it's something of the astral realm, right, it's just talking about something pertaining to stars or the celestial bodies and stuff like that. And I already done broke that down. And if it's the astrological forecast, it's just the foresight or the foreseeable future when it comes to events, aka observable events. So it's the same way when it comes to a vision or a dream you're trying to accomplish, right? You're trying to create a observable event. You're observing your thoughts, ideas, feelings, and emotions based upon whatever perception that you have or viewpoint that you made up in your mind, and then you're trying to materialize that in the flesh. So you're going to be manifesting and materializing. You're manifesting men and women, masculine and feminine energies, Adams and Eves, and then you're trying to materialize that into the flesh, into the physical, to where you can materialize it and see it in the physical to the point you can touch it, and you created that event. You created that dream, and it became a reality, and then that's it. You know what I'm saying? So just in general, you're trying to turn something that seems like it's otherworldly, and you're trying to make it a part of the physical world into something that's fact, into something that's you can actually see in reality, and you can utilize technology. We can utilize a whole bunch of different things to where, oh, okay, we're gonna try to make sense out of this thing that this person created, and scientifically try to break it down and stuff like that, and add some type of methodology behind it and logical, rational thinking behind it and stuff like that, right? Because it's just the dichotomy of the left and right brain. The left brain would be like logic and rationality and intellectualizing and articulating, and then the right brain would be like creativity or intuition, or like what I just said, foresight, or something of the foreseeable future, or emotional intelligence. And then left brain will be like you know what I'm saying? It will be like logical type intelligence and stuff like that. So the minute you start to understand your sky map, aka your horoscope and stuff like that, aka the space, the time, and the location of where you was born and stuff like that, right? You're just a walking solar system. You're like a walking planet. You're like a walking star. You're a walking representation. You know what I'm saying? You're like a walking universe, essentially. And it's talking about how it was during your Pacific day. So how it was during your Pacific day, you're going to start seeing the different angels or the angles and aspects like squares, trines, sextiles, oppositions, all that type shit. You know what I'm saying? Different planets hitting other planets, right? Of the different mechanisms of, you know what I'm saying? It's showing the transitions. It's showing the mechanism. It's showing the atmosphere. It's showing the world you was in that you created for yourself, for you to be you. And you're just a walking representation, the star representation in the flesh of what that is. That's why it's a astrological forecast, because we're still going through those transitions. And that's why when it comes to the transits and stuff like that, right? And then motherfuckers want to understand their astrological transit and how it relates to their chart and things of that nature, right? It's gonna be things going on in the world and stuff like that, of the astrological climate and how it relates to your sky map or your horoscope or your blueprint when it comes to your personality and authenticity and individuality in the world that you're in, and how you can make it more in sync with the overall world of what the natural transitions are doing beyond just your perspective of how you look at it and stuff like that, right? So it's literally showing the full scope of your atmosphere, of your world, of your universe, in a sense, of your galaxy, in a sense. So it's showing your internal sun and moon, your planet, your celestial body, your heaven, your sky, your atmosphere. You know what I'm saying? The world that you're in, and it's just giving you the breakdown of all that type shit. You know what I'm saying? It's giving you the scientific methodology behind it, the breakdown in English, and then that's it. You know what I'm saying? Or like you looking at the chart and then you can calculate it. You know what I'm saying? So based upon those calculations, you're gonna have a better way of calculating how to act in reality during different transitions and stuff like that. So it's the same way how when it comes to the seasons, spring, summer, fall, and winter and stuff like that, you know how to act during certain times and certain seasons. So that's why motherfuckers be like, oh yeah, it's Aries season, so we gonna do things in this way. Oh, it's Leo season, we're gonna do things in this way. Oh, it's wintertime, it's Capricorn season, we're gonna do things in this way. You know what I'm saying? So based upon those different transitions, you know how to act in your own personal way. And then you overall know what the world is doing based upon the transition that we in, based upon us going through the different transitions when it comes to the seasons. And motherfuckers are just trying to understand the celestial bodies, the sky, the atmosphere, the heavens of what we're in. But you have an internal energy of what you're already doing because you're trying to ascend as you know what I'm saying, when it comes to your attention span and comprehension as a human or as an individual, aka as a spirit of what you're experiencing, even though you're in a human vessel right now, right? And you're trying to go beyond just your human comprehension of how you understand things so you can make it more broad because you're just the walking example of what I'm saying right now. You know what I'm saying? Like you already got your own world and you're trying to make that world bigger so you can have a bigger container or a bigger vessel, or aka do something beyond just the human mentality of doing it in your own one of a kind individual way, just in general. And that's all it's talking about. That's all that shit is.